The Parcells phrase that I'm referring to right now is that the season always begins on Thanksgiving. And I understand what he always means by that, because now is where rubber meets the road. All of your plans from mini camp and training camp and even in this day and age where there's not a lot of hitting in training camp, and then there's one fewer preseason game, which leads to more and more offenses taking more games than usually necessary to get moving and get more on the same page, and all the phrases that you hear in the NFL. Now's the time. Like, we now know who needs to do what. We now know who hasn't done enough of something. We now know which teams have already proven themselves. And now, when the weather gets colder and the windows get tighter, it's time to play some winning football. And the matchups that, say, if these Week 13 matchups happen in Week 2, we'd have been like, all right, this is pretty good. Maybe some higher register ones, or like, this would be great, but, it'd be better if it was in December or November. For instance, Bengals and Chiefs, right? Bengals and Chiefs, Week 3 would have been, this is great. Now, Week 13, okay.
Let's go.
Dolphins, 49ers, Week 3 would have been like, okay, that's pretty cool that the new coach of the Dolphins is already visiting the team that he used to be part of the staff. All right, now Week 13, now you know that the Dolphins are 8-3. And the 49ers have Jimmy Garoppolo as their quarterback now for 11 weeks. And they now lead the NFC West. Now that takes on a whole different ball of wax. You take a look at the standings, as a matter of fact, and rubber's meeting road in the AFC with the Chiefs. No Tyreek Hill, no Big Whoop, right? 9-2. They won 9 of their first 11 anyway. A loss to the Indianapolis Colts that will still be a head-scratcher when the season's done, no matter what happens between now and the end of the season.
Knocked me out of Survivor, Rich.
I'm sure that did for a lot of people back in week number 3. And then the Buffalo Bills in week 6. But the Bills, despite coming up with that big win, have lost 3 games, including a couple in a row that a lot of people didn't see coming, against the Jets, right? And then the Minnesota Vikings. And they're sitting at 8-3 because the Dolphins beat them too. And the Dolphins are 8-3. What a surprise that is. The Titans have tightened up once again. They lead this division, and they're going to print a playoff ticket pretty darn soon, because the team that's closest to them is now 4-7-1. The Ravens at 7-4 and the Bengals at 7-4. That's for the AFC North. The loser might make the wild card, because you never know if the 6-5 Patriots and Chargers can get off the sniffing it list. And then there's the Jets, surprising everyone, at 7-4, arriving sooner in the wild card station. And a couple of weeks ago, had they beaten the Patriots in New England, they would have been in first place in the AFC East. Right now, they're the last wild card, and that's your AFC playoff picture. In the NFC playoff picture, you take a look at it, and it's been, I would say, the surprise team of the year. I saw the Eagles winning the East. I did not see them winning the East because they're the first member of the 10-win club by the end of November. And Jalen Hurts being an MVP candidate, we'll get to that in a moment. The Vikings, another surprise. We saw them win in week 1 against Green Bay, but needed to see more of that, and we didn't see more of that in the next week against the Eagles. They got curb stomped in Philadelphia. And since that loss, they've only lost once. The Dallas Cowboys came and got them and beat the tar out of them. And the Cowboys are your number 1 seed in the wild card right now, 5th seed overall, because they're 2 behind the Eagles. And they need the Eagles to lose one more time before Christmas. So when they face each other on Christmas weekend, the Cowboys will have a chance to even the record in the division against the Eagles in their season series, and maybe have enough tie breaks in other categories to surpass the Eagles atop the standings. The Bucks are 5-6. We mentioned the 49ers moments ago leading the NFC West. I mean, 5-6 Buccaneers lead the NFC South because the Falcons are a half game behind them. and they've already lost to the Buccaneers. It looks as if Tom Brady will limp into the playoffs. Will it be his final season? We'll see how it all works out between now and the end of the season when we could see the Cowboys against the Bucs in a wild card round. And right now, as it currently stands, every team in the NFC East would be in the playoffs. Cowboys, Giants, Commanders are your wild card teams.
Has that ever happened? That hasn't, right?
I think an entire division may have made it a long time ago. I don't know. We'll look at that.
The East, remember, was a powerhouse until the last,
But with every team making the playoffs, I can't remember that.
And there are the Seahawks. A lot of folks thought that they'd be right there with the Bears currently in the top five for the picks in the draft. But the Seahawks have lost 2 in a row. As a matter of fact, they're beginning to lose a little bit of steam right now. So these are your standings currently right now as we enter December football. We've played our last game in November. December football now beckons. First game of December football is Bills at Patriots. How big is that? How big is that? Bills have still yet to win a game in division. How big is that? How wild is that? So, yeah. Season starts now, as Parcells used to say. Got it. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.